A barista handed me the wrong coffee on the worst morning of my life, and the guy she accidentally gave it to is asleep in the next room right now. Okay, so a little context, because this story sounds cute, but it is so much weirder than you think. 2 years ago, I was at rock bottom. I had just lost my job. My 4-year relationship ended 3 weeks before that, and I had a one-way flight booked to move back to my hometown and start completely over. My last morning in the city, I went to my usual coffee shop, same one I had gone to every single day for 2 years. I just wanted one last oat milk latte and a quiet moment before I left for good. I never got that latte, and I never got on that flight. The shop was packed that morning. There was a new girl behind the counter who was clearly overwhelmed. She called my name, I grabbed my cup, I found a corner table. I took one sip and immediately knew something was wrong. It was sweet, like really sweet. Lavender and honey, not even close to what I ordered. I was already emotional, already on the edge. And something about getting even this one tiny thing wrong just broke me a little. I put my head down on the table. Then someone tapped me on the shoulder. He was holding my oat milk latte, and he looked just as lost as I felt. He said, "I think they switched ours." And he held up my cup with my name on it. We did this awkward swap and he laughed a little. And I laughed even though I had been crying maybe 15 minutes before that. We started talking. His name was Daniel. He was warm and a little dorky, and he had this way of making everything sound genuinely interesting. We sat there for 2 hours. I missed my flight. I told myself I would rebook for the next morning. Then the next morning came and I rebooked again. And then I just stopped rebooking altogether. 6 months later, we were together. A year after that, he proposed. But it was only after we got engaged that I found out the truth about that morning. We went back to that coffee shop for our anniversary. It had become our place by then. Maya, the barista who had been there since the beginning, she hugged us and said, "I am so glad you two finally figured it out." I laughed and said, "Yeah, thank God for the mix-up, right?" And she got this look on her face. Guilty, but also kind of proud. She said, "Honey, that was not a mix-up. She had switched our cups on purpose. And the reason she did it absolutely floored me. She told me that Daniel had been coming in every single morning for 3 months before that day. And every morning he would sit at the table closest to where I always sat. And every morning he would leave without saying a word to me. She said she watched it happen so many times that she finally just asked him what his deal was. And he told her that a year before we ever met, he had found a napkin at that same coffee shop. Someone had left it on a table by accident. And on it was a name, a little doodle of a skyline, and one sentence that said, "I hope whoever finds this is having a better day than me." He kept that napkin. He came back to that shop trying to find whoever wrote it. For a year he came back. I had completely forgotten I ever wrote that napkin. But he never forgot it for a single day. So Maya switched our cups. She gave him the opening he could never give himself. And on the morning I was ready to leave that city and never look back, the person who had been quietly looking for me for a year finally found me. I went home and dug through an old box that night. And at the very bottom, underneath everything, was a photo I had taken of that coffee shop on my very first day in the city. In the background, barely visible, sitting 2 tables behind me, was Daniel. He had been there from the beginning. We just kept almost finding each other. And the whole time, all it took was the wrong coffee and someone who noticed what we could not see ourselves. Drop a heart if this made you believe in something. And comment the word napkin if you actually felt that last part.